Welcome to The Hot Slice, a podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I am Kate Lavin, senior editor of Pizza Today, and I am joined by editor-in-chief Denise Greer. Hello, Denise.
Hello, Kate. How are you?
Fantastic.
So before we get into our awesome guest this week, because she had an amazing story to tell, we've got a couple of housekeeping things to talk about. So why don't you talk about Pizza Expo Columbus real quick for me?
Absolutely. Pizza Expo Columbus is taking place in Columbus, Ohio. No surprise there. October 11th and 12th. Registration is currently open. So especially if you are planning to compete at the Great American Pizza Challenge, you are going to want to register as soon as possible. The spaces fill up fast. Just a hint, today's episode is about pizza competitions and you might get inspired. So run, don't walk to your computer
I
and
love it.
register for Pizza Expo Columbus.
I love it. Actually, Kate, I just wrote a little interesting blog post where I highlighted a couple of the education sessions because the education just dropped for Pizza Expo Columbus. And I highlighted some amazing sessions. Man, Jeremy really knocked it out of the park with the education program for this show. It is going to be really fun. So I definitely highlighted some things that I'm excited for, and I'm excited for operators to check out.
Absolutely. There's some workshops I'm super excited to attend.
Absolutely. Okay, so there's one other thing that I need to talk about before we get into our guests, and that is that we're doing a dough science webinar. Oh, yes. We did a trends report webinar that was really popular. So we're going to do one, and I'm going to host I'm going to be the moderator for a panel discussion on dough science, on the future of pizza dough with, let's see here, Tony Gimignani, Laura Meyer, and Will Grant. So 3 heavy hitters when it comes to pizza and pizza dough. So we're going to get into some interesting conversations. And I'll say, if you have within the next couple days, if you have any questions for them, email me, dgreer@pizzatoday.com. Email me your questions and we'll try to get them answered for you on the session.
That's a great tip.
That's so fun. All right. So now, that's all the housekeeping's over. Let's get into our guest. So we are talking to Carmela Williams, and she is with Antonio's Italian Restaurant there in Elkhart, Indiana. And Carmela just returned from Italy, where she snagged a world champion title. She snagged the Americana division there at the Caputo Cup in Naples, Italy. This is a huge, huge win for her. And what I love is we get into the full story. And you know what? There were so many challenges and curves and just things that she had to adapt before the big win. So, just cheers to her on winning.
100%. Once you hear all the obstacles that came up, it is that much more impressive that she came away with first place.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's just jump into our conversation with Carmela.
Are you looking for smarter ways to improve consistency, efficiency, and bake quality in your pizza operation? Spokane Valley, Washington-based Lloyd Pans is the trusted name for commercial pizzerias and home chefs alike. For over 40 years, Lloyd Pans has been creating innovative pizza pans and tools designed to deliver perfect results every time. Whether it's crispy golden pizza crusts or perfectly baked pastries, Lloyd Pan's durable, stick-resistant, and proprietary pan finishes are a game changer. Going beyond pizza? Visit lloydpans.com to explore our lineup of food service and bakeware pans and accessories. Need shipping quotes or custom products? Email sales@lloydpans.com for personalized service. Are you looking to get your brand in front of passionate pizza pros? Well, you've come to the right place. The Hot Slice podcast brought to you by Pizza Today. We're all about everything pizza business. Each week, we dive into fun conversations about trends, tasty tips, and insider stories from the pizza world. Our listeners are engaged and eager to discover what's new and improve their craft with help from brands like you. Imagine your brand reaching pizzeria owners and pizza enthusiasts while they enjoy our laid-back chats. It's a perfect match. Whether you're selling equipment, ingredients, or anything that makes pizza better, our ad spots are designed to connect you with the right audience. So if you're ready to slice into something special, reach out to us about advertising on the Hot Slice podcast. Let's share the love of pizza together.
Hey, Carmela, welcome to the podcast, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited for you. So first, congratulations.
Thanks.
This is huge. Like
Yeah.
winning the Americana division at the Caputo Cup is just huge. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a complete shell shock for sure. So
Okay. So let's get into, okay. So first let's get into maybe how you prepared for the competition. Because
have you guys heard anything about this yet? This is all new information for you guys. Do you know anything?
Well, I've got a little bit of information, but I want to go in kind of like we're blind so that people listening can really kind of get the whole gist of it.
Because it's a really
because
weird
I
story.
found out that this is your
even better.
first time competing, right?
in Naples,
Italy,
yes.
in Naples,
Yeah, for
in
sure.
Italy. I mean, of course, we've seen you compete here,
Yes.
like at Pizza Expo, at International Pizza Challenge, definitely. But yeah, so all right, so here we go. It's story time. Let's go.
Okay, so to set the scene, I think it's very fair that I start a couple months prior. So, we've been competing, like you said, in Vegas for a number of years. I think when I was there in March, it was maybe my third or fourth time competing in Vegas. I had taken all of 2025 off because I had my son. So I was 1 year postpartum around the time, like I was traveling to Vegas. I think it was like 10 months postpartum. And, the entire time of like January to March, even some parts of December, I had been working on this Detroit style pizza that I was going to be making for 4 months. And we don't serve Detroit style pizza here. This was a completely new process, completely new challenge that I really wanted to start experimenting with. I felt like I had done the same thing for a long time and I was ready to just absolutely try something completely new. And it was a really disappointing process for me, if I'm being truthfully honest. I had a lot of failed pizzas. I had a lot of pizzas that went directly in the trash can. Like it didn't proof right, it didn't cook right. My frico was messed up. It sunk, it rose too much.
Yeah.
Like it was just this incredible trial and error. And oftentimes when I would practice it, it would have to be like super early in the morning before anybody got here. I would have to come in like on a day off and then like nothing is set up in my kitchen, or I would be practicing at like midnight after everybody was gone and I had time and space to do stuff. So, it was a really annoying process and it was very discouraging because it felt like I had a lot of messed up pizzas. Like nothing felt like it was going right. And what I've come to learn about pizza in my 14 years in this industry is that, everyone is super open and super willing to give advice if you're courageous enough to ask. But at the same time, everybody does things wildly different. And there is no one way to make Detroit style pizza. And so like,
Absolutely.
I'm talking to somebody over here and they're like high hydration. And then somebody over here is like, you want low hydration, or like this type of proofing, or this type of, you want lard versus, olive oil in your pan. I'm like, okay, nobody is actually helpful in the sense that like, I actually don't have an answer of what I need to do.
No.
This is neither here nor there. I ended up making my first and only successful bake with this pizza was at Expo. All thanks to Brad Bean, because he loaned me some cheese that ended up working out and I had a great frico and it worked well. So anyways, I felt like I accomplished what I went to accomplish, was making a successful Detroit style pizza, but ultimately I placed 19th, which is good enough to say you did good enough, but not really great enough to be like, I made top 10 or I podiumed or whatever it is. I didn't even win my region. So that was a little bit discouraging, after working for 4 months on this pizza and you're like, cool, 19th, that means nothing to me. So aside from like the wonderful education and meeting other people, like that's the good part of the expo that like is the redeeming quality of you feeling disappointed and like a failure when your pizza doesn't do well. So leading up to Naples, my husband and I are going to Naples. My dad Paul, who's also on the World Pizza Champions team, he opted to stay at home to help watch my son and my other nieces and nephews so that we could go to Italy and do this thing. He was like, go scout it out, see if it's even worth it for us to come. You know, you and Jack need a break. You know, we hadn't taken a vacation in over a year. So, you know, I was like, just go. Leading up to this trip, everything felt completely last minute. You know, we had some staff turnover here at the store. I was feeling really anxious about leaving. You know, to be completely honest, at the time, I didn't have a pizza. I didn't have something that I was going to be competing with because I was so busy coming back from Vegas and just, you know, how it goes running a business, like things just take priority. And like between my child and my business and trying to have a relationship with my husband, you know, and pretend we're married sometimes, you know, like things get pushed down on the priority list. And so, you know, I was panicking a little bit and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to Italy and see what they have there and just see how it's going to work. Cause like, you can't bring produce with you. That's very unrealistic. We were going, you know, 5 days before the actual competition. Any produce that I bring is going to be wilted or gross looking or not satisfactory for competition. Like you can't prep something like that and bring it abroad. But we were delusional and we thought we could pack pepperoni and low moisture mozzarella in our luggage. And so we get to the airport and our friend on the way up is like, hey, double check that that's legal. Seems illegal to me. Okay, so I can't lie. And I talked to the gate agent or whatever. And I'm like, hey, by the way, I've got this thing in my bag. And he was like, well, is it vacuum sealed? And I was like, definitely not. I cellophaned it as one does. And then, oh, is it pork product? And I was like, definitely, it's pepperoni. So like, I'm here talking to the gate agent. My husband's like, oh my gosh, Carmi, please just don't talk. We had to throw it away. They knew I should have kept my mouth shut, but I threw it away in the United States. I was also terrified of getting in trouble at border control. I didn't know what to expect in Italy. You know, I didn't know how serious that is there. And I was like, well, I'd rather talk to an American that I can understand and throw it away here instead of potentially getting in trouble with an Italian. And I don't know the language or the law or whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently people do this all the time and you just don't say anything and you pack it with an ice pack and it's fine. So next time I'll be doing that. So anyways, we get to the airport. I'm plotting and planning. My husband and I we've had to completely pivot, like already going in feeling unprepared, completely pivoting in the airport. We jot down some notes and then we're like, well, we're going to be in Rome for a few days. There's nothing we can do about it now. We can continue to troubleshoot ideas, but realistically, we have to wait until we get to Italy, like to Naples, to see what they have available. I'm not going to plan on something and then they not have it. Yeah. So that was our first mistake. The second time we had to pivot was when we realized that the move was not a hotel room. We should have got an Airbnb. Okay. Yeah. So knowing that now, I would structure this trip very differently. At the time, I was like, well, it's sketchy to get an Airbnb in Naples. Yeah. I should have done that because there's no refrigeration space and there's absolutely no place to prep any type of ingredients. And it's not like Vegas where you have room to like use a little butane stove or cutting boards or bowls or any of that. There's nothing at all. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So graciously, our friend Bill Crawford and his whole team like adopted us into their family. Yeah, he completely adopted us into their family. And we walked to their Airbnb every day. Like our arms are full of like our ingredients in our bowls and my flour and my oil. And like we're trudging along, you know, carrying bags and bags of stuff. And he graciously let us make dough there and use their stove and use fridge prep and all that jazz. So that was very gracious of them. But you know, it was a little challenging for us because we structured our entire availability about when they would allow us to come to their apartment and use their space, right? We didn't, we kind of lost our free will at that moment. Yeah. So that was the second pivot. And then the third pivot is, you know, I found out just a few days before that there's no like show at this. It's just a competition. Yeah. And then so like Jack and I got there, my husband and I got there like 6 hours early thinking we need to get a lay of the land and like figure out where everything is and like get our prep station ready and like get our dough situated. Like we're not very last minute people, contrary to what this trip is like telling everyone. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we get there and it's like, well, I can stand in one place and see literally everything. It was a much smaller scale than we were expecting. And once we got there, we're like, cool, now what do we do for 6 hours until we compete? Like we got there at like 9 o'clock in the morning and didn't have to do anything until like 2:30 or 3 p.m. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was a very long day. So, we get our stuff situated. These guys from like Norway or something and some other country allow us to use fridge space because the American cooler was completely full. I mean, obviously it's one refrigerator for, 50 competitors or however many there was.
Yeah.
And so, we were very concerned about our dough overproofing because air conditioning is a subjective term in Italy. So we were nervous that it was going to be too hot. We had produce, we had like cured meat kind of sitting out, vibing. So anyways, long story short, we get to compete and we're all on the same page of like, we're not putting our pizza in the oven until, the oven is up to temp. Well, it turns out we heard through the grapevine that there was some electricity issues, perhaps maybe with the ovens, in the sense that like they pull a lot of electricity. And I don't think that the building had consistent power. Maybe I don't know the logistics, but all I know is the ovens were very funky. Like when I got to compete, I brought my thermal gun with me and I'm temping the stone. I'm like, this is crazy. One side's 590, one side's 320. And then we turn the oven off and like try and cool the deck temp and the air temp down and then turn it back on. And then it's at 460. Like it was fluctuating the entire 30 minutes that I was competing. Thankfully, my experience with funky ovens has been rather routine. We have 2 Blodgetts that are like 70 years old.
And then I love that.
So we are in the process of getting like a 3-decker Pizza Master, but that won't be here until July. Yeah. So long story short, our ovens here are very funky. I'm very familiar with putting my hands in the oven, every minute to turn and rotate and identify hot spots and manipulate the oven to get the bake I need. And I had no other option. Yeah. And I had to kind of pivot on the fly of like, okay, what am I going to be doing? So the first time I made this pizza was while competing, and I had like a slew of, a slew of ingredients. And I'm kind of just like, well, I'm putting things on. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to see how this goes. I'm praying to God that things aren't too salty or, the texture's okay. I had experimented with, actually, no, I didn't experiment it. I kind of blindly grabbed cheese that I was hoping would be okay. I found some like bagged mozzarella and we shredded some scamorza, blended those together. Never tried scamorza. I didn't know what scamorza was. I had to chat GPT.
Oh, I like it.
But I like it now.
I'll bet.
Yeah, but like, it's very risky, I feel like, for a pizza maker to be experimenting with cheese, especially for a competition. Like, you don't know if it's going to produce a lot of oil. You don't know if it's going to skin. You don't know if it's going to have a lot of water. Like, what is the flavor like? And, built with everything. Like, it was a complete risk that I would never, ever do again. Like, I feel like the cheese was the riskiest part because you don't know how it's going to melt. And cheese is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I make this pizza, pieces of congealed olive oil get stuck in the cell structure of my crust. And I didn't really think anything of it at the time because I had to use olive oil instead of like Pam vegetable spray on my like dough container. And then it comes out. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's kind of burnt. Like there's one little section, like the size of a quarter. Like that's where the congealed olive oil was. I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm taking my cheese grater and I'm like shaving off the side. Because Giancarlo, the oven guy, was like, hey, by the way, like this will help you. You should do this, like trying to help me out. It's like, you rock. Thank you, Giancarlo. And then, my pistachios got stuck in like the squeeze bottle. And so he handed me this like dough scraper and I was like slamming it on the table, like in the middle of everything, trying to like get the tip to break off to make it bigger so the pistachios could pass through. And it was just kind of like one of those crazy things of like, geez, I don't know what else could possibly be going wrong. So then it all worked out and I like had a slew of ingredients in front of me. I was like, okay, well, I think I'm going to use this. I don't really want to use this. Like I was deciding moment up, but I knew what I like to eat and I knew what flavors in theory, what went well together. I was just praying that it was balanced in one bite because they're not eating the whole piece, No. I was praying that it was balanced in one bite to have good texture and good flavor and good acidity, and the sweet and the salty would kind of merge together. Yeah. And then I went and presented and everyone was super intrigued. And, I was very nervous about that. I was convinced that I was like, surely. I spent 4 months spending all this time on one pizza and I came in 19, which is not bad by any means, but it wasn't the podium, So surely I'm making this pizza up on the fly. Like there's absolutely no possible way that I could be doing well with this. Well, I imagine my surprise when they called third and second and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I didn't win. And then they said my name and I was just like, I'm going to throw up right now. There's no way they must have made a mistake. And, you know, everybody's pizzas just looked phenomenal. Like the talent of all the pizza makers at this competition, like I would not say this is an intro competition. I mean, anybody could technically join it for sure, but you know, everything that I saw and that I tasted, I was like, well, that pizza was good. These pizzas look great. These people know what they're doing. Like, and it's kind of intimidating because again, I had no plan, you know, and you know, these people had been practicing forever. And I was like, well, I know how that feels. I know what it's like to be practicing and practicing. And then you develop this one creation specifically for competition. And then it's like, cool, that didn't go anywhere. So I do admit I feel a little bit guilty that I had to pivot. Like everything about it was just, I'd like to think that my losses kind of trained me, like everything that I lost. And as I watched my number go lower and lower and lower on the scoreboard in years past of competing, it's like, I chose to take that and channel it into, okay, what do I need to do different? Because I'm sick and tired of losing. And it's not even about losing. It's about, I want to be really proud of the pizza I make. And it's really important to me that I enjoy the pizza I'm eating, you know? So I'm not going to compete with something that I wouldn't like to eat myself. And it worked. It paid out. So
it did.
Yeah.
You know, it's something I think about is I think about your instincts and the fact that you're right there and you're just like, okay, this is the moment I'm presented with. Let me gather my knowledge that I have for what foundationally makes a good pizza, and let me see what I can come up with. So in the end, what exactly was on what all was on the pizza?
Okay, so we had our 72-hour like high hydration dough. It's about 75 or 76% hydration. And then I did a blend of mozzarella and scamorza. So that it had to have mozzarella, and the scamorza was to kind of beef it up because we didn't have a lot of mozzarella. And then I roasted some Dodgerini tomatoes with brown sugar, kind of pulverized that with some basil into a sauce. And then I used burrata. My friend Patrick got me some prosciutto. I used some Parmesan Reggiano, and I did a pistachio basil pesto. Wow. And that was it. Like, it's a very, dare I say, girly pop pizza. Okay. Like this in years past, like my dad, Paul, has a world title, and my sister Gemma won a world title a couple years ago. And their pizzas were a very big play on sweet and spicy and a heavy meat component. And this really doesn't have a lot of meat. Like there's just the prosciutto, and like, dare we even call that a meat? It's like kind of like candy, really, you know? So it was just, it's a completely different vibe.
Oh,
I
sounds
love that.
delicious. Do you use brown sugar in your sauce at home, or was that something you just tried for the first time?
It's something that I tried for the first time. In the past, I've competed with a couple pizzas that I like would blister cherry tomatoes with white balsamic reduction. So you're getting some acidity, but you're also getting like that sweetness of the reduction. But you know, obviously they didn't really have that I could find, at least. So I was like, well, the next best thing would probably be brown sugar. And especially in like coffee, I like brown sugar better than I like regular white cane sugar or whatever.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I couldn't ever use powdered sugar. Like I was like, okay, this is like the next logical step. I always said I would be a great like paramedic or like ambulance tech or whatever, because what better position though? Like the skills of like instincts and pivoting, like this is a real skill you need for the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Like to be like super heavily involved in a restaurant and like run the operation, like you have to be able to pivot. People have weird stuff coming at you all the time, every day. So I like took that component. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to make a weird pizza, you know? So it worked out.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what was the experience like getting up on that podium with a world title? I mean, you got a world championship under your belt now.
I don't really even know what to say, because, you know, just kind of, so the last time that I had won was in 2020. I was 18 years old, 17 years old, maybe, in 2020. I had just graduated high school. I won the Columbus competition. I think it was like Pizza Pizzazz back then, like post Naples, before like it's actually Expo now. But yeah, so that was the last time, and I was in high school, and I had competed the year before that and I got fourth, and I like came back with a vengeance. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm done. We love men, but I was like, I'm done letting these, older men like push me around. Like, I'm 17 years old and like, I'm going to be the first girl to win. And I was. So that was
Yeah.
like a lot of, vengeance and like spunk and fieriness that moved me to, really
Mhm.
like hone in that next year. But then after that, the older you get and the more experience you get, the more knowledgeable you get, so is everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
as much as I'm growing, so are other people that are growing. And, we were talking in Naples like the entire time. It's like, you've got to be good and you've got to be lucky. Like, that's huge. Like, everybody can make fabulous pizza, but
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to be lucky. And, it, in moments of like discouragement over the past 6 years of like, I'm working really hard on these pizzas. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Part of it is luck. You got to be at the right place at the right time. And, taste is subjective. And that's something that I've also had to really settle with, that
Yeah.
like people can like different things. And that's part of being human. And that's also part of having a palate. Not everybody's going to like the same thing. And you've got to be in the right place at the right time, that those judges have the right palate and they like your food and it's working. So like when I was standing up there on the podium, I was like, first off, do I poop my pants or throw up? I'm not really sure what the feeling is. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, I don't even know what to do with this information. I was kind of moved to tears. I was completely shocked because when I tell you guys, I thought I had completely, crapped the barrel. Like I was for sure. I was like, there's no possible way that this pizza could work. And it did. And I was just, even now, I think I've got a little bit of imposter syndrome where I've convinced myself I really don't know what I'm doing. And that, oh, I'm just making up. No, I mean, like to a degree, yes, I have a lot to learn and I'm definitely not the most knowledgeable person in the room, but I'm not an idiot when it comes to pizza, like clearly,
what you're doing.
like clearly I must know what I'm doing to a degree because it came out really nice, but I didn't try it when I was there. I didn't even try it. I had never made it. Like, I was just like, no, I want to be done with it. Like I did it once, I'm done. And now I'm going to go drink a bottle of wine and look over at the Bay of Naples and then forget about this because, I totally came in last, but I don't know, guys. Yeah. Like part of it is talent for sure. But then the other part is completely luck. So
what's happened when you got back? Did you say you put it on the menu? Like,
yeah.
So you had to recreate it if you didn't try it.
No, I know. It was rough. So, we found out that I won at 10:30 p.m. on like Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
At 11:30 p.m. that same night, we finally got to eat dinner. And then at 4 a.m., 5 hours later, we left for the airport to leave the country. Okay.
Wow.
So we are able to get to New York at JFK, no problem. Straight up vibing at the airport, our flight's on time. In the Midwest, if you didn't know, I don't know where you guys are located, but
I'm in Indiana, so I know.
You're in Indiana too? Okay, so the weather stuff was
I'm by Louisville.
Okay, but still, you're in the Midwest, so we had crazy tornadoes.
Crazy weather, yes.
Crazy weather.
Tornadoes. Yep.
Planes could not land in Chicago. The wind was too strong. There was tornadoes. It was like, a tsunami not being by the ocean. It was horrid.
Yeah.
So, power was out in my area for 3 days. There was like 40,000 people without power, which is substantial. Okay. So anyways, we were delayed in New York for 8 hours. And we finally arrived in Chicago at approximately 3:30 a.m. And then our friend picked us up from the airport. God love him. Drove us 2 hours back to my house because we live in Elkhart or Goshen, which is kind of next to each other. And then, my son had just woken up by the time we got home.
Of course.
my parents are without power. And so we're talking and I'm saying hi to my son and yada, yada. And then, I take like an hour nap and then I come right to work.
Wow.
And that was a very long day. I was not the happiest camper. I looked like death itself and I was not super thrilled. And then, you come home and I get home at midnight or 1 a.m. My son wakes up at 5 a.m. And so then we do this whole thing over again. We had an early party the next day. I'm at Antonio's It's an active interview. Yes, we're live. Sorry, my dermatologist came to say hi. What's
Hey,
going on?
Joe, good to see you,
Say
man.
hi. Yeah.
Hello.
So then we're here again by 9 a.m. Saturday morning, and I don't leave again
Wow.
until midnight. Like, it was a very long weekend. And then
Yeah.
that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like, I feel like I still had jet lag. Like, I hadn't really slept. I was really
Yeah.
groggy, and I had no brain power. And then Wednesday through Saturday was honestly just getting a lot of, administrative work done.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, I was finally able to recreate, like this past weekend, I was finally able to recreate it and be like, okay, so we're thinking about putting this on the menu. What did I put on it? And so then we kind of plotted it out and built a recipe and kind of structured it that way. And so today I've already had 2 interviews, which was crazy. I had my 3rd one today, this morning, right before this. Then now I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And it's just like such a whirlwind of like, everybody wants to find out what happened. And like, I feel like the story is anything. It's comical, like everything about it. Like it was a very stressful trip, but at the same time, it's Euro summer. So like we're drinking our Aperol spritzes and like, what should we do to fix this problem? So it was like a very comical trip. And then we get back and it's like, cool, this is reality. And now you got to find a way to like deal with it and juggle it. And there's press, and then there's, family members of people that that want to talk to you. And it's lovely. Believe me, it's lovely. But it's very overwhelming because I also have like a lot of stuff to do here. So I'm like balancing that with like my regular workload.
And when that press, because you said you had a lot of interviews today, so when that press, has the press hit yet, or is it getting ready to hit? Like, is all of it kind of full steam
hit
coming?
Last week, yeah. So the day that I got back that Friday, I had an interview, and I was like, thankfully it wasn't a recording because it looked like trash. But he like recorded it and did an article, and then I did an article again, kind of explaining the whole thing for a local magazine. And then I talked with another local news station this morning. She was lovely, and she was here for 2 hours, and we made the pizza and we talked about the whole thing. So, I think it will start to spread more this week because that news, like video interview, will be out locally.
Yes.
But people have definitely heard online. We posted about it on Facebook, but like Facebook's reach is only so much before it like goes on the news, and then So maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it hasn't been on the menu until it's going to be on the menu tonight. So I think now that people can come try it, there's going to be a little bit of like, wow, like I want to try it right now.
Like buzz.
Yes.
Now, is there going to be a new like competitiveness between you and your sister on now that you've brought home this Italian title? I mean, is she going to try to up you? Like, what's going to happen?
No, I don't think so. Like Gemma and I have always been super respectful of each other. Of just like, you've got to be talented and lucky at the same time.
Yeah.
And like when Gemma won in 2023. Yes, it was a little bit difficult because we had both worked on these 2 pizzas that we were competing with, and her pizza did clearly better, so there is a little bit of like, why am I not good enough? Question mark, that kind of looms over you, and it kind of sticks with you as you continue on, as like other people, keep winning, and you're like, gosh, what am I doing wrong? And it's not a matter of what you're doing wrong, really. I think I've come to learn it's just everybody's doing everything right.
Exactly.
And so it's more of like best of the best at this point.
Yeah.
The pizza, like, so I started competing in 2019, which compared to other people, that's very small. But for my age, I feel like it's a lot. And so, even in the 6 years that I've been competing, like the way that pizza has completely changed. Like everybody has corniciones on their pizza now. I feel like I never used to see that. And then boom, all of a sudden in 2021, I'm like, all I see are these beautiful crusts all the way around. Like that was something that was really shocking to me.
Yeah.
So with Gemma and I, there hasn't been any like vengeful competition. We're just not like that. It's very much like we recognize that the industry is very difficult in and of itself. And, familial competition just makes it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's much easier to be on the same team and support each other. At least, like I would say it's much easier to support each other than be against, in a way, sometimes feel like you're against everyone. And then also you're against the people that are closest to you. Yeah. So, I mean, it ebbs and flows. But now that we're both world champions, my dad is like, I create world champions. There's 3 of us now. And I'm like,
Of
you gotta stop
course.
saying that. Yeah. But I told her, I was like, you need to get little pizza
Aw.
tattoos now. Yours can say 23 for 2023, and mine will say
Yeah.
26. She's
There
like, I don't
you
know if I'm ready for
go.
that type of commitment yet. But I'm like, I'm
I
ready.
know.
I'm ready. We always used to say if we both won in Vegas, we were going to get matching pizza tattoos. But I'm like, I feel like this is good enough. I feel like we're here. So
Denise and I have had several conversations about pizza tattoos with the Pizza
yeah.
Today gang.
Yeah.
I don't know how legal it is, but having it at Expo would be crazy. I was a
That would be
little
hilarious.
tattoo
Yes.
artist at like the slice booth or the Pizza Today booth.
Yeah, I
We
don't
know a guy. We can take this
we
idea
know
to
a
the top.
guy. we can take it to the top. I would say hygiene wise, unless
Probably
it's a
not.
tattoo conference, I would say you probably couldn't do open
But it'd
tattoos
be a
on a
fun
show
concept,
floor.
though.
But it would
I
be
like
fun.
where your mind is at for sure.
My sister and I like have talked about getting tattoos together too. So it's a very much, I feel like it's a very good sister thing to want to do that together. So that's kind of fun.
Actually, the graphic designer of the magazine, she and her mom got tattoos this year during Pizza Expo.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
They got
Yeah.
I
matching
guess you could just go
tattoos.
anywhere in Vegas. You throw a rock and you hit a tattoo shop. So
Yeah.
They
Exactly.
turned out really cool, I have to
Yeah.
say.
They do. And when she edits this, she'll be, oh, she talked about me.
Yeah, you're famous.
no worries.
I love it. I love it. So what do now you're kind of trying to get back into the flow with the business. And there's probably a big spike that you could probably expect. I mean, I know you're in Elkhart, so it's a little, people are going to travel to you. I mean, you do have several markets that are close that can get to you.
Yes.
Are you guys
by
planning
Chicago,
for that?
like an hour and a half a week. Yes and no. So we're only open 4 days a week. So it creates a little bit of a limited time frame. Chicago's an hour and a half away. South Bend's about 40 minutes away. We have some other neighboring like towns. So, Elkhart isn't just like in the middle of nowhere, I guess.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of people travel to Elkhart. Our main industry here is the RV industry. So there's constantly people coming in from out of town and visiting and whatnot. So, it's been this journey. I think we will probably expect a little bit of an uptick, but I think it's going to start slow and then it's going to hit all at once.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell because we're only open 4 days a week. It's not like, we're open all 7 days. So it doesn't.
That'll
really
also create demand though, because if people know that you're only open 4 days a week, then they're like, I got to hit you on these busy nights. And so
it'd be really cash money. If anybody in Elkhart is seeing this, please distribute your visits between Wednesday and Saturday. Do not come in all at once on Friday at 6 o'clock because you're going to there's not going to be room. People should know they got to space this stuff out,
Yeah. And that's kind of the hardest thing is when you get this international acclaim, like you're experiencing, where you have a lot of you are predominantly, a locals kind of spot. So being able to honor those locals, that's a hard challenge that a lot of, we used to call it the Portnoy effect of when people would get rated really high and then their regular customers are like, wait, now we can't go, and so there has been some of that.
We're grateful for our regulars for sure. We definitely have carry out only regulars. We have bar only regulars, dining room only regulars. And it also makes it really interesting too, because we actually don't accept reservations. It's kind of on a first come first serve basis. You can always call and get added to the wait list. But when we used to have reservations, we would actually be able to see less people. I know that seems kind of counterproductive, but it's because we're holding tables for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
When we could get a turn in before that and then have more flexibility on where we put people. Yeah. So we saw a great increase of being able to feed more people in the time frame that we're open if we removed the reservation element. Yeah. And then it's, it spreads out the night really nicely too, because our locals know this. They know that, maybe people from out of town are coming in from 5 to 7. And yes, that is a great dinner time, but they'll either come in at 4 or they'll come in at 8 or 9 and just kind of relax and sit at the bar. And, it's just a little bit of a different experience when you kind of know this about it, you know? So we're very thankful for our locals that kind of they kind of have the foresight to kind of plan their week a little bit. Yeah.
So there's a restaurant in Indiana, and I think it's a steakhouse. I don't know. It's in the middle of nowhere in Indiana somewhere. But what they did is they basically started a tailgate program that was like people just hang out and tailgate in the parking lot until it's time for the reservation.
Wow.
And I was like, that is a bomb idea if you're like out the door. Like, so I don't know if they have some kind of special like BYOB parking lot, you know,
some type of licensing or
like
whatever.
licensing, but it is like literally a tailgate before the reservation. So I don't know if that's an idea for you, but it's something to think about.
Having something outside while people wait, like, so we own our building and we own the property that we're on, but we're very much landlocked in the sense that like our building is in the center and the parking lot is around. So if we continue to put any other structure outside of it, we lose parking spaces. So we've been thinking about that for years. We've contemplated redoing our patio and making it like 4 seasons to accommodate like a waiting room with like, you know, you can get drinks out there, or like small bites or something. But it's hard to navigate, like especially if we're kind of in a small space. So there's only so much you can do. But
so
I like that. I love
promote tailgating, you know?
I know. Yeah.
Why not? Football does it. Why not?
I know, right? Yes.
All right. Well, it has been amazing catching up with you and finding out about this amazing journey you went on. And congratulations, Miss World Champion. This is amazing. And we cannot wait to hear all about it and to get an update on what happens next.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm super excited to be asked to talk to you. I've been my dream to be on a podcast. So thank you very much for having me.
Right on. Well, we're glad to sit down and talk to you.
Yes,
and
awesome.
We'll see you in Columbus.
Yes, hopefully we'll be there. If all goes
are you going to compete at the Great American Pizza Challenge?
Yes, as of right now, I think we're planning on going. We have some like crazy trips coming up this year. Like we've already been to Vegas. I've just finished Italy. We're supposed to be going to California for the Pizza Bagel Fest in August, and it's paired with the WP
I think
retreat.
Kate will be there too.
Yeah. So if all goes according to plan, we should be able to go to Columbus, but we'll see. Hopefully, but we'll see.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Well, good luck. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.